Why is it so hard to actually say what I feel?
Just keep it together.
Don't be too much.
Somewhere along the way, you learned to hold it in, to soften your truth, to shape your voice, to be easier to love. But your body knows, your voice knows, and there's a place inside you where nothing is forced, where everything real gets to exist. This is that place. Welcome to G-Spot. Hi, my name is Graciela Serena, and you are listening to G-Spot Podcast. This is episode 14. Yeah. So, thanks for being here. I just want to remind you that my books are open for the packages. So that is the Embodied Confidence package or the devotional package. The Embodied Confidence is really tapping into yourself and what you need and coming to an embodied place with that and getting confident in it. And then the devotional is how to take all that and put it into your relationships and the outside world in an embodied way. So those are open, and July 31st at Sovereign Kava 7 and on is the fundraiser show. These will both be great shows. One's more intimate, which is at Vintage, and Sovereign is a little bit more like of a whole thing. Okay. So, oh, that's funny. I was talking about, but by the time this episode comes out, the Vintage show will already be done. So come through to the fundraiser show. All right, let's get into the episode. So I realized something recently, which is that for a long time, I knew who I was when people needed me. I didn't know who I was when they didn't need me. Weird concept, right? We're going to break it down. This kind of goes into identity, right? We can become the helper, the peacekeeper, the overachiever, the entertainer, the therapist friend. But when did this become your job? When did you assign yourself this role? Was it your dad not able to take care of himself? Your parents, you had to parent them? Was it that you were rewarded for staying in line and being good and giving? When was this role assigned to you in your brain? Following the therapist friend, I literally made this a job because I love helping people. I love helping people find those patterns and change them because I know it's possible. And I know that there's a lot of people out there lost on why they keep on doing the same thing, why they keep finding the same people, why they feel so disconnected, why life doesn't feel fulfilling, why they feel like they've lost a fire or never had it, So that's a passionate thing for me. But I will say that I've had to find my balance in this. When I didn't find my balance, when I didn't have my balance, I started resenting my friends. I felt like I was superior because I knew all this information and I was the savior, right? Ultimately, this had me feeling isolated. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my best friend and I. When I first started this work, it directly impacted my relationship with my best friend. And we're just recently coming out of this. And there's a lot of behind the scenes things that I'm not going to talk about because, that's our private relationship. But I will say that in this time frame, my band wasn't existent anymore. I was putting a lot of energy into my band. And I was working really hard on my coaching business. Like that was my life. I was like so in it, so grindy, not finding that like masculine, feminine balance at all. I was also really fueled. I was excited, and I still get excited about this work, but it was in a way that I didn't pause and I kind of made it my whole identity for a little bit. And my relationship was going really well. And I don't know if you've had this like moment where when things are going well, and if you haven't, then like if you actually are dedicated to this work and doing this work, you will find a point where you don't know what to talk about with your friends. And like, that was a huge realization, is like, oh my God, I've like always been like, oh, this, and like, oh my God, like here he goes again, or we're not doing well. And just like really, like, I would get amped off of talking about my problems in my relationships. And so when that wasn't happening for me, I was like, what do I talk about? Like, okay, might as well turn it on my bestie and see what her problems are, right? So this is where I put my value, right? And it is a very valuable characteristic. Like, everything has shadow and light, right? So this is super, like, the information I have and the way that I can show up for my friends and like really put the mirror up is beautiful. And I love to be that person for them. But when it starts becoming all about them, no light on me, like, you know, no reciprocity, and when it starts to become my identity and like something where it's like, I don't even know what to talk with you about except for this, that's when it starts, I become the savior, right? I become the therapist friend. And that's a tricky place to be, because ultimately there's a loneliness in that. And I don't know if y'all are the therapist friend or if you're just like the helper. You're the helper, you help people all the time and you're just always there to help without asking for anything back. Or if you're the peacekeeper, how are you the peacekeeper while still owning your truth? Because do you have opinions? Like, it's okay to see both sides. I'm a both side kind of girl, but what's your truth? What's your opinion? What do you actually want to say versus what you say to keep the peace? You know, so things like that. It's looking at those patternings, looking at those moments where you kind of like abandon all the other parts of yourself and put this one in focus. I needed to feel needed in this way and project it onto her that I was her savior. And there were things in the relationship where I did want her to rise. I want all my people to rise, but I wanted it in my way. And I think that there's a path, there's a path that people need to go. And you can't control that. You can decide whether or not you want to take a little bit of space, or you can decide you're going to be there, and you can see if they want your advice. You can, whatever. But her healing was different from mine, right? And, ultimately there were some values that I didn't align with. There were some things that I didn't align with. And I had to be honest with myself about that rather than projecting onto her. And, we've had amazing conversations through this period of time. Amazing, just like beautiful, opening conversations that are real and honest. And I can actually say she is rising, and it's so beautiful to watch. And it wasn't all in my timing, but it was perfect timing. And so I have to sit back, or I had to, right? I had to sit back and ask myself, what place was I giving from? Why was I being the therapist friend? Why was I being the savior? Was I feeling like I didn't have anything else to give? I mean, I don't think that it was necessarily that. It was that I was shifting and I didn't know what else to do in the friendship, because our friendship was shifting. And that's kind of what I fell into, right? And that's where I put myself. So I didn't know what to give her. I didn't know what else, like, my relationship's doing well. We used to talk about like shit about our relationships all the time. She used to hold space for me all the time, So personally, like, yeah, like I think that it was like coming from a place of like trying to keep the relationship alive and feeling like this is the only way I could do it. And for other people, it may be that this is really truly all you think you have to give. And that's okay. It's just about working with that and seeing that and looking at that and being like, okay. And what am I going to do about that? And the biggest one that we don't think about, oh my God, this one's so funny. I actually really loved it when I put this together through various books that I've read and podcasts and stuff like that, which is, was I trying to control by giving? Have you ever had that? If you could think about times that you have given, and maybe there's times where it's selfless and it's out of love, and that's beautiful. But I'm talking about those times where you give and maybe you don't even necessarily want to give, but you want that person to like you. For me, I was growing, I was rising, and I wanted my best friend to come with me. I wanted her to do it on my time, and I wanted it to happen in the way that I wanted it to happen, right? So, was I giving out of a place of sincerity? Of course, I was also just being there for her. Of course, it was coming from a place that I did want her to rise because I love her and I want the best for her. But there was like this control aspect that once I let go of, the relationship could flourish because I stopped like, and then, my fiery ass would just get upset about it. It's like, okay, sit down. But hey, I'm not even pretending to not be human on this thing, right? This is like literally, this podcast is so that I share my own things so that you can know that you're not alone, that I am human too. I do so much work. There's a lot of things that I know. There's a lot of knowledge that I have. And I'm still, no matter where you go, like there's going to be a different shadow shaped as something else, right? Like maybe you work through this shadow and then the next time it's like that shadow, but in a different texture, And it's really cool to be able to spot those and be able to shift it. And that's like why I come to you, because I know that it's possible. And I literally do this podcast because it's not for me to be on a superior, I'm better than you type of thing. I'm here with you, And like the best friend story is literally just a version of me being human and having to spot my shadows, right? And spot my control and spot my savior complex and all of the things. Rant complete on that. When you're always available, what gets lost? What can disappear? Maybe your creativity, maybe your spontaneity, maybe your desire, your play, your rest, and the one, the only, your own voice. So you see how all of these connect? All of it connects, right? Like from the beginning, if you have been here since the beginning, it all connects to ultimately like, what is your truth? How do you show up in relationships? How can you fully express? And where are you losing those parts? Now we're in the relationship portion. So how does this affect your relationships? Let me ask you something. When you're so busy giving and being a savior and fixing and being the peacekeeper and all these things, all these ways that you spread yourself thin, what parts of you are you neglecting? This was a question I asked in the last episode, but let's get deeper into that because this is huge. This is where we abandon ourselves in multiple ways. Because yes, we're whole, right? But there's little parts in us that are getting abandoned. Little parts. Is it the little girl that wants attention? The little boy that wants to receive love and be cared for as well? Is it the fiery bad bit that like knows their truth and knows how to like be confident? And like, I know some of you might be like, I don't have that. You do. It's just maybe feeling dormant because maybe you're playing the peacekeeper. Maybe you're playing the fixer. Yeah. What parts does your partner actually get to meet? Because I'll tell you right now, the caregiver role gives up a lot to keep giving. And no one, including yourself, gets to meet all of you. That's what happens in relationships. And it's isolating. And there's confusion. And when you don't know this kind of, where there's parts and there's, you don't even realize how much of a caregiver you are, it's going to impact your ability for connection. Not to mention, like I've said before, the resentment that builds with being the caregiver. Projecting onto everyone else that they're lazy, they don't know how to do it like you, they blah, blah, blah. And maybe they don't know how to do it like you, but doesn't mean that they can't do it. Yeah? And then there it goes with the controller. So it's just like a domino effect, right? And I want to say like the caregiver, the fixer, the peacekeeper, like these are not all bad. I just want to say like there is a beauty to all of these, the caregiver is nurturing and knows how to take care of people. The peacekeeper can really calm some, confrontation and know what to say in those moments. And the controller is survival of the fittest, right? It's like it's been keeping you safe for a long time. And a lot of times controller, independence, blah blah blah, that, you can know what to do. You got it, right? So I just want to voice that it's not all bad. We're not shaming all these parts. We're bringing them to the surface so that we can look at them and love them and ultimately know how to work with them rather than apart from them or against them. So we're wrapping up, and I just want to leave you with this. What does it look like to build an identity rooted in who you are rather than what you do for others? And if you actually are in a space where you can get out of the journal, write down these questions. And if not, just think about it or come back to it, whatever you need to do. But that's the concept, right? Who are you when you're not giving to others? Think about what lights you up. What do I enjoy when no one is watching? Do you like to dance when no one's watching? Do you like to sing when no one's watching? What's your thing, huh? What do I want? Some of you, this is going to be a really hard question. And that's where I invite embodiment practices and, working with someone to find, because a lot of times it's kind of hard to get to what we want when we've never asked ourselves that. So I really do invite you to, whether it's working with me or someone else or doing a program or whatever it is, really tapping into the body and doing embodiment practices and really kind of investigating those parts of yourself. But yes, what do you want? And the last one is, what have I stopped making space for? I want to tell you just a little tidbit of a real-time thing that happened for me recently, which is I've been in the podcast world, and it takes a long time. It's a very extensive thing to do these podcasts, and I love it, and I wouldn't trade it. But the podcast world and the coaching world, I've been coaching a lot. I've been, doing all these sorts of things, and I haven't been playing music. I took a break from my monthly gig that I usually do at Vintage, and I went to the river and I played guitar. And I realized, whoa, this guitar feels foreign to me, which if you know me, that is crazy because I'm a musician. I've been writing songs since I was 10. It was crazy to even be like, this is foreign. And it showed me, oh, this is what I've been abandoning. This is the part I've been abandoning. My musician, my creator of song, my quote unquote siren. So that's an ongoing question, right? What do I want? What am I creating space for? Or what have I stopped creating space for? Those questions are ongoing questions with life because they might shift, they might change. You might abandon this and then come back to this and da-da-da-da-da. These are really good questions to ask yourself repeatedly. I want you to know that, just like with the guitar and being foreign to me, that part of me is never gone, You don't have to abandon other parts to bring back others. It's not like that. It's an evolution. And if you're ready to evolve and to stop doing the same thing over and over again and give so much to where you're depleted, this is partially what it takes, There's, at the end of the day, all of your parts deserve to have space. All of them. You deserve to give yourself space, to not handle everyone else's life. I don't want you crying because you're lost. I don't want you feeling like you're abandoned when the real truth is you're abandoning yourself. I don't want you to feel like you're not cared for because you're not letting anyone else take care of you. And ultimately, you're not taking care of yourself. These are the steps. This is part of it to becoming fully alive. Fully alive. I want you to own that. I want you to step into it. And I'll be right here. And I love y'all so, so much. Thank you for being a part of this journey. And thank you for, listening to this is already choosing yourself in some kind of way. And I just really appreciate you showing up. So I'll see you next time, and keep shining, boo.
Thank you for listening to G Spot, where your truth turns you on. This isn't just something you listen to, it's something you live. So take what landed here and bring it into your next conversation, your next boundary, your next moment of truth. If you're walking this path and want to go deeper, find me on Instagram at Graciela Serena Music. You can find more information on how to work with me below in the show notes. And if this resonated, let it travel. Share, comment. I would love to hear from you. But most of all, remember, your truth isn't too much. Your voice isn't the problem. Stay there, in that place where it's real. I'll see you next time.